We have a chat now with I want to call him the outgoing ambassador of is it kingdom?
It is actually a kingdom, yes.
Of Denmark to Ghana, Excellency Tom Nørring.
Very good.
Very close.
Very, very close.
5 years of Denmark-Ghana cooperation. Good to see you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's good.
On this nice morning.
Now, you
can... cool morning, almost.
For Danish to say Ghana is cool, that is...
After 5 years in Ghana, cool.
Clearly you've been... But you came during COVID.
I came actually on the very day that restrictions were lifted on traveling to Ghana, 1st of September 2020.
God. Wow.
I came on a KLM flight, which was still registered as a repatriation flight. So I had to go into quarantine. 15 minutes before, Portuguese Airlines arrived, and everybody walked freely in the streets.
Wow. So you were quarantined for how many days?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
At my residence, so it was okay.
But we've come a long way, haven't we? 5 years ago, nobody was sure what was going to happen.
No.
But what was your remit when you came in, and what were you thinking? Just talk to me a bit about. Of course, we know what ambassadors do, right? But you are coming into a COVID situation, your first time in Africa.
Yeah.
That must have been.
It was not actually my first time in Africa. I've been traveling on short visits, but first posting definitely in Africa. Mm-hmm. And it was a bit of a mouthful, and it was a bit of a shock because I had not worked in an African context, and it was a shock because I had a very hard time getting to know people. Not because you're not good at Aquaba and being welcoming, you are very good at that, but because everybody was wearing a mask. So after a long time, and I'm really talking about half a year, I kept meeting people and they kept saying, "Hi, good to see you again." I was saying, who are you? Because there was all these faces that I didn't see. I just saw a lot of masks. Anyway, I think we got through that. And my remit, well, my first big challenge was a professional challenge was that we had decided after 30 years of development cooperation, where we have been one of the largest, although a very small country of less than 6 million people, or just 6 million now, we had decided to phase out our development assistance to Ghana. It had been decided some years before, but it was implemented exactly when I arrived. So my challenge was to manage that situation with a clear wish to maintain a strong relationship between Denmark and Ghana, a strong presence, a high level of activity, but yes, with less donor money, so to speak. And I think we managed that through not least beefing up the commercial side. Very difficult during COVID, but nevertheless possible. So we engaged Danish companies, a broad segment of Danish companies, different sectors, but focused also in activities in Ghana, and I think we've done well there. Also, it fit very well with my personal ambition or view that development aid is necessary, but it's not sustainable. It has to be a bridge. The long-term sustainable relationships are entered into by partners who are equal, in the sense that they both have something at stake. And that is much better when you talk commercial relations, because there you have a company, maybe another company in this country, in Ghana, or it can be a public entity, but they both enter into this with an investment.
But you do recognize that because the countries are at different stages of development, with different technological capabilities, different financial capabilities, it's a very difficult balancing act to manage that commercial relationship, right?
Very, very true. So it's also wrong to say that you can just phase out all development aid. You can also say we haven't, because Denmark as such is one of only 4 countries in the world who still live up to the United Nations general goal of giving 0.7% of our GDP in development aid. That we still do. It's just been decided end of last month, that we will continue to do that. That is very positive. Ghana was a specific case because Ghana had reached a different level of economic development, and you had your own plan, Ghana Beyond Aid.
Yeah,
I mean, you did state it very clearly.
Yeah.
But we didn't leave, like Elvis that leaves the building. We didn't leave the building. We stayed. We also stayed because half of our development aid, or somewhere around that, differs from year to year, goes through the multilateral organizations, through the UN. So although you don't see it, when UNFPA, UNICEF, UNDP are active in Ghana, for UNFPA, for instance, a large chunk of that will be Danish money. But it doesn't have a Danish flag, so you wouldn't know. So we're still here, and then we are still here with what we call, and I think that's where we merge what you asked for, that we're different stages of development. So we started something we call strategic sector cooperation in a number of areas. It's not something that we made up here at the embassy in Ghana. It's actually something that we have been focusing on in Denmark, especially in countries where we are phasing out our development aid, but we still feel we should be and can be.
So which are some engaged. Of the strategic sector cooperation areas that you found most impactful? Well,
I would say we have 4 of them. Okay. One of them is very new, so I can't say we've had an impact yet. It's meteorology and climate.
Okay.
We're making good strides, but we're not there yet. If I look at the others we've had, and the one we're phasing out right now is maritime, where we've been very impactful. I don't know if I should get into that, but the port of Tema, the 3rd terminal, the MPS, Meridian Port Service, is actually a Danish investment.
Correct.
Danish and French. $1.5 billion. Huge container ships coming in and out.
Yeah.
But one of the first things we did when we started our maritime cooperation was to capacity build for these tugboat captains and pilots to ensure that this increased traffic could be managed, and it has been so far. So that's a very, very small but very significant contribution, which benefits both Denmark and Ghana.
Yeah.
Us because we're investors in the port, us because we have one of the largest merchant fleets in the world, one of the largest container shipping companies, Maersk.
So Maersk is Danish?
That's Danish, yes. And the investment in that port is also Maersk investment.
So it makes a lot of sense, right, on the maritime side, because Ghana's port is critical.
It is.
For a lot of what it does.
It is, and this is the most, I dare say, the most modern, paperless, well-functioning, efficient port, maybe in all of the African continent.
Yeah. This is Terminal 3.
Terminal 3, and I believe that this is really what also in the future will be part of making sure that Ghana becomes or stays the gateway to West Africa.
Because the efficiency of the port is critical for many things.
Absolutely.
But water and sanitation has been something I have associated the Danish with for a while. I remember when I traveled to the country, there was a way they use water that was just incredible. Nothing is wasted. And we visited companies that converted wastewater into usable forms. And there were companies at the cutting edge technology of greening there. So just talk to me a bit about the emphasis of the water and sanitation cooperation, and whether there are any programs or projects that you feel made impact.
Yeah, first of all, I'll say over the years when we had development aid, part of that has also gone into the water sector. That's more traditional development aid.
Yeah.
But then we started a program which is actually between the city of Tema and the second largest city in Denmark, Aarhus. And the water utilities in Denmark, it's Aarhus Water, and here it's Ghana Water. A corporation that focuses on building up capacity and transferring knowledge, technology, know-how to Ghana Water and to Tema as a municipality, and also to very much to the ministries, the relevant ministries involved. And I think we've had a lot of positive results out of that. Not only because it has benefited Tema, but it has benefited Ghana in general, because this becomes a role model looking at how can we ensure that you do not have the big losses, for instance, that you have. In Ghana, you have from the point of entry, so to speak, to the consumer, you have a loss of 50 or sometimes more than 50%.
Yeah.
That is costly in terms of what doesn't get to the consumers. It's costly in terms of health issues, but also in terms of money.
So what did it specifically do? Was it like
but
building new
we're
systems,
down to 5%
training people?
in Denmark. So what we train people in how to do it, how to, very, very basic sometimes, what kind of technology do you need to have in order to make sure that you don't have these leakages? How do you detect the leakages? How do you repair the leakages? What kind of pipes do you put in? And what kind of training and capacity building do you need to ensure that you in the future will have a much more efficient and effective
and have we seen some results?
System. We've seen big results. I think we're moving from the 50% now to aiming at 25%, things like that. Losses, and that is huge when you're talking about Ghana, as so many other African countries that have access to clean and affordable drinking water.
Anything specifically on mining, of course, the water conversation you cannot be discussed without the issue of the effects of illegal mining and sometimes legal mining on water bodies. Has there been any program or project or any conversation around either reclaiming water bodies or just making sure that water bodies are not polluted?
Well, the conversation is definitely ongoing.
All right.
But the problem is we do not have any activities that are directly aimed at that.
Or technologies that can help reclaim.
We do have companies that could, for instance, deliver technological solutions. Not for the whole problem. The problem is humongous.
Yeah.
In 10 years' time, I don't want to think about the consequences. I hope that some of the steps that are being taken will be helpful. It's actually possible with slightly different methods, also for small-scale mining, to make sure that you do not have the pollution that you're seeing today. But the problem is when you're a small-scale miner, whether you're legal or illegal, that difference in cost is huge. Yeah. It's not huge in the big picture, but it's huge for the individual miner. And I think that's Ghana needs to find, and I think also the government is aware of that, needs to find a way in which they can deal with this. Also dealing with the illegal mining, because it's not only a problem in terms of environment, it's also a problem in terms of legality and how many people are actually making their life based on illegal mining.
Let's talk briefly about statistics. I'm quite intrigued that there was an area of cooperation to do with the Ghana Statistical Service. What was that about?
It had just started when I came here, and I was almost bored, because I remember 100 years when I was at university, the only thing I didn't want to was to get into statistics. It couldn't be more boring. So I said, no, that must be for somebody else. Let somebody do that. But in fact, I've seen the value of statistics through this corporation in a way that I had never thought possible. And especially what the primary focus in our cooperation between Denmark's Statistical Service and Ghana's Statistical Service has been to include what you call administrative data. That means instead of the census or on top of the census, to have the real-time data in different sectors brought in, because at the end of the day, you do statistics, you do it in order to have a foundation for taking managerial and political decisions. And you cannot do that based on a census that took place maybe 10 years ago. You can't even do it on a census that's 5 years or 3 years ago, because things change all the time. By bringing in administrative data, you ensure that political decisions are taken here and now based on the information that is actual and not, let's say, outlived. And you can think about it. Health, measles outbreaks, that's not reflected in a census from 10 years ago. Schooling, how many kids are dropping out of school after 5 years? Well, it may be very different today than it was 5 years ago. You need to have these updated information. That means you have to have all the different agencies and ministries working together
yeah.
to ensure that we actually get this kind of cooperation.
Let's talk finally about the democracy and media and information. I think we benefited from a project, I think through CDD, that had to do with fighting disinformation,
yes,
which I'm told was a Danish embassy-sponsored project. Why the interest in this aspect of the democratic journey, press freedom, misinformation, disinformation? Why is that critical as an area of cooperation?
Well, it's critical for both countries, I think. It's critical for what is our shared values, and that is respect for human rights, to making sure that democracies are actually functioning. So it is very, very critical. But in particular, we've seen in Ghana, and this particular project came up in the run-up to the last elections, where we said that we see that misinformation, disinformation is increasing in Ghana and all over the African continent. This is something that is increasingly important when you have an election campaign going on, that people who are going to the ballot boxes can trust the information that they're getting from the news, from the politicians, etc. So we thought that was a timely thing to come in with a small project and engage different CSOs as well as media representatives in a dialogue on how can we deal with this. I also have to say, for us, for Danes, we look very much at what we saw happening in Europe, Russia invading Ukraine and brutally taking over a country or part of a country against all international law. But the stories that I saw here in Ghana and other places in the media and in the social media were distorted to a degree where I said, this can't be true. What can we do about it? How can we limit this? And we need to come out and make sure that the media are playing their role as the honest and analytical and critical journalists they should be, digging into the issues and telling the truth, giving the population the real picture and not just passing on distorted information.
We're talking to Tom Nørring, who is the outgoing ambassador of the Kingdom of Denmark to Ghana, reflecting on 5 years in Ghana. It's happened so quickly. Let's just wrap up on two things. Youth, women, anything on those areas? Because I know we're in a big conversation about empowerment, inclusion. Does any of your cooperation focus on that? Anything to talk about?
We've had a lot of activities over these 5 years, dealing with both, but in different ways. In terms of women, we've looked very much at how can we engage young women who are at the end of their studies or starting up small businesses or careers. How do we empower women? Not necessarily for politics, but looking at a fact that, for instance, the parliament has only less than 15% women.
Yep.
How many ministers does this late government have who are women? I think it's 3. It's very few, at least. In cabinet.
Yeah, but they are
senior ministers. There are others, but in senior ministers, this is an issue because the more women you bring in, the more you break this old system and make sure that you have diversity. Also, when it comes to gender, youth, equally important. I would say even more important because today 60% of Ghana's population are 25, 26 years old.
Below.
But below 25 or younger.
Yeah.
And they are not engaged. They're not involved. They're not included. They're not listened to. Their voices are not heard to a degree that they should be, because they, at the end of the day, whatever the past president, the current president, the future president, and their governments will be doing, they will actually be impacting all these young people. And you need to include them, you need to listen to them, you need to hear their voices when it comes to climate change, when it comes to economy, education, environment. We talked about mining issues before. They will be the ones that will have to decide whether they want to have kids in areas where it will probably be a risk health-wise.
Because of all the health issues. What do you leave Ghana with in terms of reflections on development? You spent 5 years here, an immersive experience from COVID to new elections. Now there's a new government, so you've seen quite a bit. Any quick thoughts on what you leave here with, and even any advice?
Well, I've had the pleasure and privilege to be here for 2 elections. I've actually participated both times in terms as a EU election monitor. I would say the important thing is you have had a very long stretch in Ghana of democracy and democratic, free and fair elections. Yeah, there have been flaws here and there, so they are everywhere in the world. I don't take that seriously. But the problem is what happens in the 4 years in between the 2 elections. Democracy has to be really sound for the whole period. Mm-hmm. Press freedom we just talked about, but there are other issues. Mm-hmm. How to ensure that you have solid, good governance in those years in between. And one of the things that I reflect upon after my 5 years here now is that the one problem I couldn't talk about in the past government, because that wasn't really a popular thing, is that corruption is still flourishing. Even more maybe than it was when I came here. That's not good. And it is not just because it costs a lot in terms of money, but it costs equally in terms of trust. People do not trust the authorities, the system, if they see corruption. So this is the key factor, I think, for Ghana to move on, deal with corruption in a bipartisan, open manner and transparent manner, but deal with it. It's not a one party against the other, one president, one minister against the other. This is something that Ghana needs to do.
All right.
And then I think, and maybe it's a very, very large challenge or hope that whoever is the leader now and in the future will be a leader with serious visions for the country. And when I say for the country, it's not for the privileged few. It's not those that are entitled and all that, but really a vision for the people, the 34 million people. Because if you have people in the leadership with such visions, then you will have the backing of the people, and you will be able to create the path that I think was the path of Kwame Nkrumah when he started the independent Ghana.
Thank you, and congratulations on 5 successful years, I should say.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you're leaving the service. You're going into retirement.
I'm going into retirement. I've been now away, traveling 18 and a half years in a row.
Gosh.
And I'm reaching our retirement age at 67. And I think it's time to take this old circus horse and put it out to green pastures.
I thank you for your work and the great times we've discussed and talked about various things you've done. Well done. So hopefully your replacement will tell us what's next for the Denmark-Ghana relationship going forward. Ambassador Tom Nørring, great to have you.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.